She was humiliated the moment she set foot inside the camp. Not for failing, not for breaking rules, just for wearing a technician's uniform with no rank, no patch, and no last name that meant anything to the powerful. You here to fix the B-2 exhaust pipe or train on invisible vacuum cleaners? Laughter erupted through the training hall. It wasn't clever, it wasn't new, but it was loud. Then someone spilled coffee on her chest. Hot, sharp, direct. A smirk followed. Guess you're used to the smell of machine oil, huh? No apology, just more laughter. Zoe Lane stood there, the stain spreading over her uniform like a scarlet letter. She dabbed at it with a napkin, slowly, her eyes calm, her shoulders still. No tears, no words, no retreat. She didn't give them what they wanted. Nearby, the general's son, Reed Hawkins, leaned against a simulator panel, waiting for her to break. She didn't so he scoffed, louder this time. Dead-eyed silence. That's about what I'd expect from a grease monkey. The other trainees didn't even pretend to hide their smirks. One tapped on her screen. Another snapped a picture. Zoe stood a little straighter. Her uniform was clean if faded, her boots scuffed from actual work, not showroom polish. Her jacket carried no emblem, no badge of status. And in this place, Black Talon, the Air Force's most elite stealth flight training base, that meant she was nothing. No connections, no medals, no legacy. Just Zoe. The instructors ignored her. The trainees mocked her. Even the simulator staff pretended she didn't exist. Her screen remained dark, her controls locked, her seat always in the corner. They called her things like ground tech intern and wrench girl. Reed preferred shop rat. One even taped a note on her locker that read, "You missed the janitor briefing." She said nothing, watched everything. Every flicker on the simulator dashboard, every flight path diagram, every button press. She memorized the interface from the shadows. No one asked her about her background. No one would have believed it anyway. Not one of them knew she'd been raised by a man who once helped write the B-2 Spirit's override sequences. Not one of them knew her father was Elijah Lane, the silent engineer pilot whose test flight in 1994 had nearly killed him. But she remembered everything he taught her, and she never said a word. Because no one would listen, not until the base bled. And when it did, she would be the only one ready to fly. 3 days into training, they held the flight patch ceremony. It was supposed to be a moment of pride, the beginning of a legacy, the kind of ritual where names get called, patches get handed out, and everyone walks away 1 inch taller. Zoe stood in the back, hands behind her, eyes forward. She already knew her name wouldn't be on the list. But then, the lead instructor glanced up from the roster, looked right at her. And for our resident ground tech, a pause, or whatever she is. The room tensed, just enough for the sarcasm to catch fire. We've prepared something special. Reed Hawkins stepped forward, strutting like a bad actor. He held it in 2 fingers. Not a patch, not a badge. A sticker. Bright, cheap, labeled in bold, blocky print. Mechanic girl. He slapped it on her uniform, right on the shoulder. Gotta label the help, right? Laughter exploded. Not chuckles, not whispers. Loud, ugly applause. One of the instructors clapped with mock sincerity. Now, Miss Lane, you can hold your head high knowing you've been recognized for your essential hangar role. The words hung in the air like a punchline no one wanted to laugh at, but everyone did anyway. Zoe didn't move. She didn't speak. Her heart pounded, her face flushed, but her eyes stayed on the horizon, past them all. She unclenched her fists, 1 finger at a time, and walked off the stage. No one saw her wipe her hands on her pants. No one heard the deep breath she took behind the hangar wall. That night, she didn't sleep in her bunk. She walked the corridors instead. Dim lights, silent vents, the hum of machines older than the trainees who laughed at her. She stopped in front of the observation window. Beyond it, the B-2 Spirit, black and perfect. A shadow shaped like flight itself. She watched it glow under the maintenance lights. Its angles curved like silence. Her reflection in the glass stared back, sticker still on her shoulder. She peeled it off, folded it in half, then in half again, slipped it into her pocket like a secret she refused to burn, and whispered to no one, "When it matters, you'll remember me." The alarm hit at 2:13 a.m., a blaring, shrill sound that cut through the bass like a blade. Zoe bolted upright in her bunk, heart hammering. Red lights flashed outside the corridor, spinning, warning, screaming. She ran. No one stopped her. No one even noticed her at first. Not until she reached the hangar and saw the B-2 Spirit lit up in chaos. Sparks flicked from its underside. Emergency crews swarmed around it, shouting over each other. The autopilot's stuck in override. Weapon system is flashing engaged. We can't re-establish ground control. Reed Hawkins stood frozen near the back, pale, silent. A tech slammed his fist on a console. "We can't risk going in. The whole cockpit could detonate, or eject, or worse." Another pilot took a step back. "I'm not climbing in there. That thing's cursed." An instructor shouted, "We need a volunteer." Nobody moved. Nobody. And then she did. Zoe stepped forward. Her boots echoed across the tarmac, calm, steady, her braid trailing down her back, her jumpsuit still stained with coffee. No name on her chest, no rank, no badge. Reed saw her and scoffed. "You? What, gonna fix the tailpipe? Get back before you get us all killed." She ignored him. The colonel turned to block her path. "That's a B-2 prototype in meltdown. You are not authorized." "I know the sequence," she said. He blinked. "What?" "I said I know the override." Silence. Sharp. Disbelieving. Someone barked, "What sequence?" But she was already climbing the ladder. She grabbed an old flight suit from the rack, zipped it up over her uniform, slapped the oxygen pack in place. Hands shaking. Eyes focused. "No one's flown that model," the colonel said again. "The override isn't even in the current manuals." She looked down at him. "My father flew it in '94. That shut him up." She turned, climbed into the cockpit, and disappeared inside the black wing. Inside, it was chaos. Screens flickered, panels hissed. The cockpit pulsed with raw power, like a machine fighting its own brain. She strapped in, whispered to herself. Secondary bus control. Purge the auto run. Bypass the circuit. Input code. Manual helm. She touched the first switch. Static jolted through the console. One screen stabilized, then two. Outside, the base was dead quiet. Eyes on the monitors, hands off every switch. A voice crackled into her headset. "Identify yourself." She clicked the comm. "Zoe Lane, taking control." Then she cut the comm off. No distractions. No interruptions. She pressed the next sequence. The override lights turned from red to amber, then to green. The system whined, then submitted. Until a new light blared. Engine engaged. The bomber shuddered. She grabbed the yoke. This thing wasn't going to shut down. It wanted to fly. And it was going to, with or without her. So she made a decision. If it needed to fly, she'd take it up herself. The B-2 shuddered beneath her fingertips. Engine spooling, thrusters vibrating. The hum of something ancient, angry, and alive. She reached for the throttle, eyes on the flickering horizon. The doors of the hangar were opening wide steel jaws, parting to reveal the desert runway under a storm-dark sky. No more thinking. She moved. Throttle forward. Flaps checked. Gear engaged. The bomber rolled. Reed watched from behind the blast glass, eyes wide, lips parted. She's actually doing it. The instructors said nothing, just stared. One of them whispered, "God, help us." But Zoe wasn't praying. She was listening to memory. Her father's voice, steady in her mind. "The sky doesn't open for anyone. You take it, one switch at a time." She took it. The B-2 lifted, silent and black, like a shadow peeling from the earth. The desert dropped away beneath her. The radar blurred, then cleared, then showed her alone. One ghost in the sky. The base control room erupted, orders flying, voices shouting. But no one interrupted the flight. Not this time. On the screen, her call sign blinked. Unknown pilot. Altitude climbing. Trajectory stable. One general stepped forward, staring at the data like it was prophecy. That override sequence, only Elijah Lane knew that. And someone whispered behind him, "She's his daughter." Above the base, the B-2 cut across the storm like a blade through silk. She watched the faulty systems stabilize, one by one. Weapons, disengaged. Override, cleared. Navigation, reset. She did it all manually. No AI, no training wheels. Just breath, focus, and everything she'd learned in silence. Then the final system clicked green. She let out the breath she'd been holding since the runway and brought her hands to the yoke. Time to go home. Quinn Control, this is Zoe Lane, she said calmly, requesting clearance to land. A pause. Then a voice dazed, human. Lane, clearance granted, bring it in. She lined up the runway, brought the wheels down, fought the crosswinds, fought the nerves, fought the past. Then touched down. Smooth, clean, perfect. The B-2 coasted to a halt, engines humming into silence. She opened the cockpit. Cool night air rushed in. And she stepped down, boots hitting tarmac. No applause. Just footsteps in the dirt. And the entire base frozen around her. Until an old man in uniform, 4 stars on his chest, stepped forward. He didn't speak right away. He looked at her. Not her jacket, not her hands, her. And slowly he saluted. "Zoe Lane," he said, voice rough. "Daughter of Captain Elijah Lane." The crowd shifted. Reed lowered his head. The instructor who gave her the sticker turned away. "You just saved this base," the general said. "You saved all of us." The general turned. His voice rang across the tarmac. "Everyone who mocked this pilot, line up." No one moved at first. Then boots started to shuffle. Reed was first. Eyes down, face pale. The others followed. Trainees, instructors, even the ones who used to grin when she passed by with a mop or a toolkit. They lined up near the hangar. Sloppy, uneven, silent. Zoe didn't look at the general. She didn't need orders. She walked, one step at a time, down the line, past every face. Nobody spoke. Nobody dared. She saw the instructor who'd handed her the mechanic girl sticker. He looked like he wanted to disappear into his boots. She saw the pilot who disabled her simulator screen. The one who laughed when the coffee hit her shirt. The one who said she didn't belong in a cockpit, only a closet. She said nothing. Her silence sliced deeper than any insult they'd thrown at her. At the end of the line, Reed whispered, "I'm sorry." She didn't blink. She turned to face them all, her boots in the dust, her hands calm at her sides, and spoke, quietly, clearly. "The sky doesn't care what patch you wear. It doesn't open for a name. It opens for the ones who are ready." Then she walked away. No applause, no cheers, just the wind. The next morning, she was gone. No fanfare, no press conference, no promotion ceremony. Just a note left on the general's desk. "Thank you. But I didn't come here for a title. I came to prove I could fly. Now I have. Let the next one in." She signed it. ZL. Weeks passed, then months. The base changed. They renamed it quietly, Quinn Strategic Center. No one officially explained why. But the culture shifted. No more locked simulators, no more hazing. They took down the old banner in the hallway that read, "Legacy above all." Replaced it with a new one, "Earn your wings." And in the instructor's lounge, someone pinned up the old mechanic girl sticker, not as a joke, as a warning, a reminder. New cadets came in, from cities, from farms, from nowhere. Some with medals in their family, some with stains on their coveralls. And they all heard the story. A girl with no rank flew a B-2 prototype when it almost killed the base. She didn't ask permission. She just knew how. They whispered her name like a ghost story. But the ones who'd been there, the ones who stood in that line, they knew. Zoe Lane was no ghost. She was the storm.